Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this latest episode of the Full Circle podcast. Um, I just want to say, first of all, thank y'all for your support. Thank you for, I know we've only been doing this for a short time, and, sometimes beginnings are the hardest thing to embark upon. And especially in a time like this, where so much craziness is happening in my city. For those of you that live in Los Angeles, our city, um, now more than ever, uh, love and appreciation, um, and working together means so much. And so today I'm a mess, y'all. I'll just be honest with you. I know usually uh, I start off the podcast with a little bit more excitement, a little bit more energy. But today's a different day. And I really want to just talk with y'all personally, um, and just express some things that have been on my heart and mind for, I guess, it's been about a week now since all this started. So with that being said, thank you, first of all. Thank you for tuning into this and the support. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna stick to the corner cam today. Uh, I just feel like that's just kind of where we're at right now, and I want to just really come to you guys and uh, just talk with you directly here. Uh, so much happened last week, and these wildfires have caused so much devastation. Excuse me, in our city. I mean, it's unprecedented. Last Tuesday, I was in the studio doing another episode, and I left the studio in the evening, and I was like, okay, great, we're gonna like edit and start putting more stuff up. And before I knew it, I got word on my way home, trying to drive back through all of the chaos of the wind and everything, that a fire had started. And little did I know that fire that started would lead to so much devastation and so much chaos in our city. And this is a really difficult time for so many people. I know, whether it's Malibu or Pacific Palisades or Pasadena, Altadena, all those areas that have been affected, even to the people that had the Sunset Fire happen. Um, it's just unbelievable that there's so many places in LA right now that I have called, whether I used to live there, called it home, or I have personal memories of, times where over the last 7 years I've went to hang out with friends. I've gone to hang out with friends. Um, and we would have like um, these regular just times that we would spend together. And we started creating traditions, like going down to Malibu to go swimming and then stopping by to, get a bite to eat at a restaurant close by. And just seeing the PCH just totally wrecked and devastated by fire. I've been up in the Palisades many, many times, and just to see the devastation, it can make a lot of people feel so helpless. And I know that I am not, like, I don't live in these areas where the flames are directly. I'm a little bit. I'm in the area of the where the fires were coming through and where they were saying it was going to be affecting us, but so many people have lost so much. And I know that if I feel this kind of like this sense of pain, this sense of loss, this sense of devastation, my heart can't even imagine the weight that other people are feeling. And I just want you to know right now, if you're listening or if you're watching this podcast right now and you have been affected by what's happening right now, I want to let you know that my heart and my prayers go out to you, and that in this city right now, we're going to do whatever we can. We are committed. I know myself, my friends, us here at this podcast, we are committed to doing everything we can to help to rebuild this city and to be a voice of hope, to be a voice of reason and a light to everybody that might feel like they're stuck right now, because we don't have all the answers. I know I don't have all the answers right now. These are very, very unprecedented times for everybody. But one thing that I really want to say is that in times like these, where it seems like there's so much darkness and it seems like there's a lot of chaos, the humanity that I'm seeing in this city right now, it almost seemed like a city that in so many ways can feel like everyone is so self-interested and everyone's coming out here to have a dream come true, or they're so focused on their goals. In a city that feels so impersonal and so self-saturated. Over this last week, I have seen so many acts of selflessness. And I've seen people come together from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high in terms of status, financial status, societal status, whatever you want to call it. And it's giving me hope for this city again, that we get to define what that looks like. We get to define what Los Angeles looks like. And so in the midst of all this utter devastation, I mean, like I said, I haven't lived in Los Angeles my whole life, but as somebody who calls this city home, who has called this city home for almost 8 years, I've driven past those hills that are now scorched black. I've hiked on some of these trails, and I've seen sunsets over some of the neighborhoods that are, when you look out, they're covered in flames. So this is so personal for all of us. And I truly hope that we can, as we're rebuilding and working together, that we can strive to rebuild this city, and that we can rebuild it with community in mind. We can rebuild it with love for our fellow man, whether our politics are different, our religion is different, our belief system is different. It is my hope and my heart and my belief that we can truly learn to love one another again, and that we can build bonds of unity and connectedness and mindfulness for one another in a place where it seems like there's so much division. It seems like there's so much tension and separation. And I believe that this fire has shown, as chaotic and devastating as it is and heartbreaking as it is, that humanity still can do good things, and that we still are good at the heart of it. And I choose to believe that. And so I just want to tell you right now that if you have been affected by these fires, whether it's directly by losing a home, by having to evacuate, financially affected, your whole life got turned upside down, or if you're just somebody that's like, you've gotten an evacuation order or an evacuation warning, and you can't stop looking at the Watch Duty app on your phone and watching the news, and you feel the impact of the anxiety. I want you to know there is hope for you. Lean on the people in your life right now. Lean on the friends in your life. Call up friends. Call up people you haven't spoken to in a while. Check up on them. Put some of the differences aside in your life. The stresses that you've been holding on to, the grudges that you've been holding tightly in your hands. Like, This is just such a reminder that life is so short, but it's also so precious. And now more than ever, all of these things that we're pursuing, they have importance, but they don't matter most. What matters most to us and should matter most to us are the everyday moments. It's the life that matters. I was watching this interview with this lady who ended up losing her home in the fire, and she said that in that moment when they told her that she had to evacuate the Palisades, all she could think about was, what do you even grab in that moment? What's so important to me? Like, do I just grab a couple of things in my bag, some essential clothes, my dog, my cats, like, my loved ones together and, huddle up into a car and take off down the road? And I really thought about it in that moment watching that, like, what really matters to us in these moments? We don't often get to think about, because you're not faced with that reality until you are faced with a fire or you're faced with a disaster. And now the reality of life and what counts the most becomes so important to you. And so I just want to encourage all of y'all out there that's, you're listening to this or you're watching this. This is a time to consider what matters most to you, who matters most to you. And yes, we are all pursuing our dreams. Yes, we are doing what we can to try to make those dreams become reality. But if something like this were to happen to us, some of you right now are even considering this. You've been faced with that reality. What matters most? Will it be your possessions? Will it be the things that you've accumulated over your life? Or will it be the relationships that you have, the friendships that you've built, the love that you shared or that you didn't share, those conversations that haven't been had, the unresolved differences or the unresolved conflicts between you and friends and family? What's going to matter most to you? And I just really want to encourage you to, please take the time to think about this, because life is so short and it's not promised to any of us. And as unfortunate as it is, sometimes devastation and tragedy and loss reminds us of the gravity of where we're at and that life is precious. Moving on from that, I just wanted to just talk with y'all a little bit about just the reality of everything that's happened. For those of you that don't live in Los Angeles, for those of you that have not been here before, or maybe you're just watching this today and or listening and you're trying to figure out what's going on in LA, I want to thank every single friend of mine that has called, checked in, has asked what they can do, even if it's not much, people that want to volunteer, people that are looking into resources to do this, just as a little bit of a reality check to give y'all some information. This fire was absolutely devastating. It has continued to be devastating. Last week, leading all the way into today, the Palisades fire has burned around 23,713 acres, including homes, businesses, and landmarks, from the Palisades to the PCH going towards Malibu. The Palisades fire right now is 17% contained, which that's great progress, but that's still not even halfway there. Right now, there have been 12,000 structures that have been threatened, and 5,300 structures, including homes, have been damaged or destroyed. The Eaton fire, which is closer to where I live, burned 14,117 acres, and many structures in Pasadena and Pasadena. This is coming from the LA Times, by the way. Have been destroyed. As of 7 a.m. this morning, the fire was contained up to 35%, which is a lot better. It's a lot more progress. But 7,000 structures have been damaged in the fire. And as of today, right now, they're obviously still looking into, they're getting, as they're getting the fire under control, they're beginning to go into homes and see what people may have been stuck or may have passed away because of the fire. But right now, 24 people have passed away. 24 people have passed away as a result of this fire. And this is devastating. It's devastating because of the fact that there are real people in the face of this tragedy right now. There are real everyday people that are having to deal with these situations. And I know that for some of us, I know people that have lost their homes in the Palisades, lost their homes in Pasadena. And I don't want to, I've heard some people say this where they're like, the Palisades fire, I don't really care as much about that. I care more about Pasadena and Pasadena. And I get where that's coming from. I understand the rationale behind that. But to me, everybody's home matters. Everybody's condition matters. I say this, and I said this because this kind of harkens back to COVID. And I think that the feeling that a lot of people this kind of feels almost like COVID-like in a sense, just not necessarily the circumstances, but the feeling of the anxiety and not knowing when this is going to end, even though we know that there is an end point with this. The feeling of this right now for so many people is like we are in the same ocean, but not in the same boat. Like we're collectively being affected by this as people who live in Los Angeles. But home is home. And that place of refuge that you come to for your sanity and your peace of mind and where you share memories with your family and your friends, that has been lost for so many people. And so whether you are in the wealth of the Palisades and you lost your home, or you are in a variety of conditions in Pasadena or Pasadena, and you're struggling to pick up too, my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to your situation. I have heard so many stories about moms trying to now figure out how they're going to get their kids back to school because their school burned down. And that's in Palisades and in Pasadena. Parents who worked hard to provide for their kids in Pasadena to get them into a good school, and now their children don't even have a home and they don't even have a school to go to. My heart is broken for you. My heart is devastated for you. And my prayer is that in these times that we would be able to put aside some of our lack of understanding and lack of sensitivity for people and their concerns and their pain. Yes, it's not the same. Yes, some people can't afford to rebuild and they might not have financial concerns. And I know that not all pain and trauma feels the same for everybody. It's maybe not equal. But pain is pain in that sense. And it may not be on the same level. But I believe that we can acknowledge the differences in pain while still acknowledging the reality of pain. And so right now, there are clear impacts of this. There are environmental impacts of this. This has affected so many people financially. There are people, I was talking to my friend Erica about this right before we got started here today. And she was talking about like how some of this disaster has awakened people to realize like, oh man, like what happens? How am I going to feed my family? And she said something so important to me. She's like, there are so many people out there that didn't even know how to feed their family before this happened. and they're still trying to figure out how to feed their family. And there are those that are now being affected, that wasn't a concern for them. That I believe this is starting to begin to open people's eyes to not just have sympathy, but to have empathy. Because I believe so many times when we're outside of these disasters, we hear about hurricanes, we hear about tornadoes, we hear about these storms that happen, whether it's, in California or outside of it, all over the country and globally. And we're like, wow, like, dang, that's a tragedy. But we don't realize until it actually hits home, we can actually mistake empathy for sympathy, and sympathy for empathy. And this situation has really, I believe, allowed a lot of people to recognize there are people out here that are suffering. People are struggling financially. People are literally on the border of homelessness because they may have lost a job. And then this fire happened. Or I mean, they may have been struggling to make ends meet, and then this fire happened. And now because somebody lost their home, or they're experiencing a bit of a tragic situation, this is allowing them to have more compassion and empathy. And right now in this time, empathy matters the most. And I want to address this for a second, because this is very important. Right now, there are people out here that are playing political games where this is concerned. And it absolutely pisses me off and infuriates me right now that there are people in Washington and people in California that are right now trying to do political gamesmanship of this, whether it's the president-elect, whether it's Democrats and Republicans on the Hill right now that are arguing back and forth about these issues, that are trying to play political games. Republicans right now that, obviously after winning an election and getting control of what's going on right now in terms of being able to make decisions in the majority, and they're talking about using conditions, making this about conditions, when there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this state right now and in our city whose lives have been devastated. Families that are, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, we're human beings first. We're people first. And using this disaster to play political games, or to call people scum, or to use this to posture and position yourself, when people are struggling and they're suffering in the face of a disaster they didn't see coming when they got a high wind warning and didn't expect this to be a problem, shame on you. You're disgusting for using this for your political advantage. You're disgusting for using this to gain points and to rile up your base and to energize other people. Because some of the posts that I've seen on Twitter, or X as it's called, or whatever you want, or Instagram, talking about we should deny aid because it's a liberal city or a liberal town or a liberal state. Shame on you. Because before we're Democrats, before we're Republicans, before we're independents, before we're liberals, before we're progressives, before we're conservatives, we are people. We are brothers and sisters. At least we should be. Enough is enough. There are parents right now trying to figure out how to put food on the table for their children. Some newborn, some 5 or 6 years old. Some are living in shelters right now and trying to do their homework and figure out what they're going to do next. Have some compassion. Have some empathy. And I want to tell every single person out there that might be seeing this, that's disgusted by what you're seeing, those people, they're not leaders. You are the leaders. For all the people that are out there fighting the fires, people that want to go volunteer to help, people that are starting their own organizations that never even knew how to start an organization, but they're doing every single thing that they can, starting GoFundMes. You're the true leaders out there. You're the real people out there. that are choosing to lead under these circumstances. And I want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And over the course of whether it's the next 6 weeks to 6 months to a year to 4 years, when there are people that are out there playing political games, we are the people, no matter where we are across this country and in this state and in the world for that matter, we are the true leaders that are going to step up, and we are going to work with our communities. We're going to be the ones that are passing out water bottles and the ones that are starting organizations to help to get food and aid. We're going to start mutual aid in our communities. We're going to be the real leaders. And so I want to acknowledge you and say, I thank you so much for doing everything, whether you're donating, whether you're volunteering, whether you're contributing, whether you're starting that GoFundMe or just checking in on your neighbors and friends. When times get tough, and if they are getting tough in our world, we are going to be the leaders that are going to start and show love to one another. And so I just want to thank you for that. With that being said, I just want to tell you guys, these are tough challenges. These are tough times, but we're going to get through this together. We're going to stand strong, and we're going to get through this together. And I don't have all the answers for you today. I'm looking into resources myself. This is this is the hardest episode I've had to tape so far, because I know and have experienced the personal nature of this, and I have friends that have been directly affected by this. But I want to tell you right now, we are going to get through this together. Find a friend. Lean on, even if it's one person, lean on people that you know. Lean on your loved ones in this time. And I know this is so painful, but I do truly believe that when you feel that pain, try to help somebody else in the moment of feeling that pain. Because there's that power of the exchange of empathy that I believe can bring about a change in what we're going through right now. And we are going to get through this. We are going to get through this. This is not a time for pointing fingers. This is a time for joining hands. Because the finger, if you point fingers, you can't get a full grasp on the situation to actually do something. But when we join hands together and say we'll make a difference as one community, as one group of people, as friends and neighbors and strangers coming together to make an impact in a city that can oftentimes be defined by opposition and self-interest, when we pool our resources together and work together, beautiful things can happen. So I want to encourage all of you today. Find an opportunity to help. Find an opportunity to serve. We have tons of resources that are available in our city. Obviously, you can look at Red Cross. I know that's one that people talk about. Red Cross has opportunities to donate. So, we'll go ahead and post all of that here in the description. I want to personally shout out Walk Good LA, my friend Etienne, and all the good work that he has done. I met him back in 2020 during the Black Lives Matter movement and the work that we did together to help our city. And he is one of the best leaders that I know in this city. There's so many others, but I'll post a lot more resources. But Walk Good LA, you can go to walkgood.org. I believe it's walkgood.org. If not, I'll make sure to put that information here in the description. But that's another great resource. I will also share some links for verified GoFundMe campaigns for displaced families and volunteer organizations that are doing good work right now. Right now, in the face of tragedy, in closing, I'll say it's love and unity that carries us forward. Not finger pointing and not criticism, but love and unity is going to lead us forward. And there's a verse that my dad used to always tell me growing up in scripture that says, in serving one another in love, we become free. In this moment, let's lean on one another and let's serve with the heart of love. Because in this city, I believe we can become a new beacon of hope for what true leadership, what true love, and what true unity looks like. And so on a difficult day, I encourage all of you to come together. If you have a story or you know anybody that's been impacted by these fires, please feel free to share that information with us at _full circle pod on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening today. Share this with a friend. Share this with someone you know. Subscribe to this podcast to stay updated about what's going on with these fires and, of course, when we're going to be posting new episodes. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I love you. Y'all mean so much to me. And as hard as it's been to go through this and even feeling speechless today, it's people like y'all that listen and that are affected by this that pushed me to get in the studio today and just share what's been on my mind. I love you. We will see you next time on the Full Circle Pod. Have a great day. Have a great one from your favorite brother. Stay safe. And if you need to evacuate, please follow the orders of the local authorities and take care of the people that are in your life. Thank you. God bless y'all. Hey, y'all, if you watched this episode today or listened, I want to encourage you, please share your stories with me, whether that's by a DM on Instagram or even leave me a voice note. I want to hear from you. Please share stories with me about ways that your community has come together and has worked to support people that are in need during this crazy time in our city. I would love to include them on a future episode of the Full Circle Pod as we continue to give updates regarding what's happening. So once again, if you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram at _full circle pod. That's _full circle pod. And once again, here are a list of resources, as I mentioned previously, whether that's the Red Cross Wildfire Relief Fund, World Central Kitchen, Walk Good LA, the Salvation Army, Los Angeles Emergency Management Department, and so many more resources that are available in our city. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And please let me know in any way that I can be here for y'all during this time. Thank you again. I love y'all. God bless.